Healthcare bills are like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. But these surprises are never pleasant. I know this problem well because for years I worked in the pharma industry in pricing strategy. Now I've dedicated my life to lowering healthcare bills. I want to help people like Michael. He makes $9 an hour, no insurance. He suffered for weeks before seeing a dentist. His surprise bill was $2,400. An amazing dentist across the street would have done it for $6. 5 minutes away, there was a free dental clinic. Michael, already on a tight budget, wound up in serious debt. My big idea is simple. Through technology, the uninsured will have access to reliable information about the price and quality of their healthcare options. When we're buying an airline ticket, it's expected. In healthcare, it's revolutionary. Medical bills are the leading cause of personal bankruptcy. OK Copay will help millions like Michael find the care that they need and not go broke trying to pay for it.
Every day, immigrants disappear and are detained by the US government for not having proper documentation. While lacking papers is not a crime, immigrants are imprisoned for months, sometimes years. I'm Christina Fialo, and this is my colleague, Christina Mansfield, co-founders of Civic. We're also the daughter and granddaughter of immigrants, and we can't bear to see mothers ripped away from their children. 2 years ago, we piloted the first immigration detention visitation program in California, where we met Anna. Anna is a victim of sex trafficking, and instead of protecting her, the US government detained her. She was unable to contact her daughter, and male guards abused her, forcing her to sleep on the cement floor of her cell. We ended Anna's isolation and abuse by connecting her to a volunteer visitor, an attorney, and her 8-year-old daughter.
There are 16 programs like this, but hundreds of thousands of immigrants are detained every year. Civic will build a national network to support these programs, as well as launch new visitation programs in all 250 US detention facilities. We will work with the government to build the first national visitation hotline and engage multiple stakeholders to address human rights abuses. Together, we will reunite families like Anna and her daughter and end the isolation of detained immigrants across the United States.
When I lived by candlelight in Africa, I never imagined that one day I would return with my own sustainable energy invention. As a Peace Corps volunteer, I lived in Tlokweng. It's a remote mountain village in Lesotho. I learned firsthand how difficult life can be without basic infrastructure, especially energy. I wasn't an engineer at the time, but I resolved to do whatever it would take to overcome the technical and economic challenges to getting power to places like Tlokweng. The knowledge gap that needed to be bridged, it started with me. It's been a long journey, but this past month I completed a PhD in environmental engineering at MIT and was awarded a patent for a thermosolar energy system for Africa, a technology that can be built by Africans for Africans using local supplies. Not just Africa, but the world needs affordable, sustainable ways to power clinics, schools, and communities in underserved areas to improve the quality of health and education services, raise living standards, and drive social progress. STG will train solar technicians to build and maintain affordable, reliable micro-utilities in the areas that need them the most. 30,000 clinics and over 60,000 schools worldwide remain without electricity. We're going to change that.
Hello, my name is Ajeta Shah. The last time that I ever sat in darkness was in rural villages of India. There are 3 billion people in the world that live in this darkness every day and use lanterns like these to give them some light. When I saw the deadly effects of these kerosene lanterns, I realized that it's actually better and safer to sit in darkness. Santosh, a rural mother, decided to use this lantern to give her child light. Instead of getting light, what she got was sadness. Her house was burnt down and her child was killed within 5 minutes. After witnessing her child's death, I promised to eliminate kerosene globally.
Over 2 million people die from deadly cooking and lighting practices every year. That's one life lost every 20 seconds, and half of those are children. Before we finish speaking, 3 children will die. Hundreds of technology solutions exist to solve this staggering issue, but the frustrating reality is they don't reach the people who need them the most.
We changed that. Daniel and I are trying to bring these technology solutions, like solar products, to rural households. Frontier Markets builds retail shops where rural households have the opportunity to interact and learn about affordable, safe solar solutions. We change their behavior and sell to and through them clean solar products to hundreds and millions of rural households to give them the opportunity to get out of darkness, out of danger, and into a brighter future.
Half of India's population is under the age of 25. This means in the next 10 years, 300 million people will be joining the workforce, which is more than the entire population of the United States.
Well, this has the potential to be a huge advantage for India. Only 3% of these young people receive any formal skills training.
Hi, my name is Vyomkesh.
And my name is Chris.
And we started MEDA to address this problem.
Vyomkesh and I met 7 years ago while working in microfinance, and we were inspired by the professional and personal growth of the hundreds of high school dropouts we hired and trained each month.
We offer an employability education program to create similar opportunities by bridging this gap which exists between the skills taught in the school and what is demanded by the employers.
From 300 today to over 650,000 students across India in the next 10 years, we're building a model for systemic change.
MEDA exists to better prepare youth for life after school. Join us in our mission.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Juan Maldonado, and this is my partner at Rizio de la Cruz. And together, we are Regali.
Thanks, Juan. So 20 years ago, I grew up in the Dominican Republic, and I can remember that my family always depended on my dad to send money over from New York. Today, over 30 million families in Latin America depend on remittances. However, this process has not gotten any better. Immigrants still need to go to an agency, pay extortionate fees, then they're responsible for notifying the recipient themselves on the other side, who has to find an agency and then extract cash, which in a lot of neighborhoods is completely unsafe.
Regali addresses all of those concerns by allowing Latinos in the US to send free gift cards in the form of text messages for the same supermarkets and stores where their families already shop. Now, we have successfully partnered with some of the largest retailers throughout Latin America, and our platform goes live in 3 weeks. So that means the next time Mauricio and I want to support our family in Latin America, all they need is this. Thank you.
"83 days. That's how long it took for my students' reading levels to finally catch up to where they had been before the summer. These are my first graders, the day it happened. Karina, Maya, Sanaya, Carlos, and Travis. With limited access to books and parents unsure how to help, 30 million low-income kids face huge reading losses every summer. Research finds that 2/3 of the achievement gap in high school is attributable to summer learning loss in elementary school. Springboard Collaborative transforms the summer to close the reading achievement gap. Our 2011 pilot doubled students' annual reading progress and increased parent attendance from 10 to 94%. By training parents and teachers to collaborate, Springboard fully closes the literacy gap by 4th grade. In a nation that uses 4th grade reading scores to plan prisons, this changes everything. All children deserve the opportunity to learn, regardless of whether they're at a school desk or the kitchen table, whether the calendar reads January or July. Join us in changing the summer from a barrier into a springboard for our kids. Thank you.
We are Jacqueline Georgievich and Carrie Ferentz of Stockbox Grocers, which places miniature groceries throughout urban food deserts to improve access to fresh produce, grocery staples, and meal solutions. Stockbox challenges the traditional grocery model with our reduced footprint, curated inventory, integrated technology, and dedicated community engagement. Our store's location and online ordering make it convenient to shop. Food education, recipes, and occasion-based shopping make it easier to produce meals. And our design allows us to launch just about anywhere, whether that's tucked inside a storefront or a converted shipping container.
Perhaps most importantly, Stockbox offers an authentic community experience so that customers feel connected to the store and inspired to shift their relationship with food. We prototyped our store last fall where the community celebrated it as an inviting and affordable alternative to local mini marts. This process also provided valuable insight that will shape our rollout, including 1 store this summer and 5 in 2013. Ultimately, Stockbox will scale in order to achieve our mission to go where the grocery stores can't and stock the food that convenience stores won't. Thank you.
My name is Anushka, and I am the founder of MyAgro. Mali is one of the 15 poorest countries in the world, and the population is set to double by 2030. The need for Mali to increase its food production couldn't be any higher. Minyata Koulibaly, a peanut farmer, is part of the solution. Minyata is a mother of 6, and her family shares 1 meal a day, roughly every 2 months every year. And by planting time, she can't afford the seeds and fertilizer she needs in order to increase her harvest. MyAgro enables farmers to save for fertilizer and seed throughout the year, starting at harvest time when farmers have the highest income. Minyata can go to her local store, buy a savings card, and send us a text message with the card's code to immediately update her layaway account. We deliver the seed and fertilizer to Minyata's village and provide training for Minyata to double her harvest. We've created a way for savings to be easy and accessible, and made it possible for rural farmers to access the tools they need to break the cycle of hunger.
When I was 14 years old back in Kenya, I had a painful experience that later became the defining moment of what I wanted to achieve in my life. I lost my best childhood friend when he was hurrying home back from school to get a few crumbs of bread. And as he was on a hurry to cross the road, he was hit by an upcoming vehicle. He had a very high chance of survival, but because he was anemic, my friend died upon reaching hospital. These incidences occur every day. 16,000 children and young women perish every single day around the world because staple foods in the developing world are never centrally processed, and all the existing programs that are supposed to disseminate this critical iron and vitamin A have somehow failed to deliver these critical micronutrients. We have developed a technology that is going to be applicable in the small-scale milling systems in the developing world. This technology is able to disseminate iron and vitamin A in the staple foods in the process of processing these foods. The technology is going to be effective and convenient because 50 to 90% of the vulnerable populations depend on small-scale milling systems. So it's going to primarily ensure that iron and vitamin A are accessible to over 500 million vulnerable populations. Healthy food systems is set to save these lives and end such an unwarranted deaths. Thank you.
We're Buddy Shaw and Esther Wong from ID Insight. As a physician, I would never prescribe a drug that hasn't been proven through a randomized controlled trial. Yet, in international development, we spend over $600 billion a year, with barely any of it based on gold standard evidence. Why do we hold ourselves to lesser standards? In a sense, we too are dealing with people's lives. ID Insight is the first to use rigorous trials as a decision-making tool for social sector managers. Our trials are fast and affordable, so managers can test multiple program interventions before they invest. The result? Smarter investments and improved at-scale outcomes.
Already, we are decreasing diarrhea in Cambodia. We are raising test scores in India, and we are preventing malaria in multiple African countries. We work with some of the most important foundations, governments, social businesses, and NGOs to catalyze this global evidence-based movement. By democratizing the most powerful impact measurement tools, we are changing the way the social sector innovates, learns, and improves. We are obsessed with impact, making smarter social investments, and most importantly, improving millions of lives. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Taylor Downs with Vera Solutions, and I'm here to talk about the bottom line. In the corporate world, companies are analyzing profits in real time, and they're using that data to make decisions. Imagine if Starbucks didn't know which lattes were selling best or which stores were most profitable. The market wouldn't stand for that kind of inefficiency, and neither should the world of development. But here the bottom line is impact, and for a majority of NGOs, on a day-to-day basis, that bottom line is invisible. So they're capturing the data, right? There are over $1 billion spent in monitoring and evaluation last year, but it's just sitting there, and it's only ever dug up for year-end reports that are driven by the needs of donors, not doers. It's dead data. Vera Solutions brings data to life by harnessing simple and scalable technologies, and we revolutionize the day-to-day decision-making of nonprofits. In the Dominican Republic, student reading scores are being analyzed and emailed automatically to teachers every week to frame their discussions. And across the slums of Nairobi, toilets are being geotagged and mapped so that local staff can identify gaps in access to sanitation in real time. We've worked with 27 different organizations already, but this is a sector-wide solution that fuels transparency, efficiency, and data-driven decision-making. So all of this means one thing: greater impact, and that's the bottom line. Thank you.
Born in a small rural town, I know the pains of the broken delivery system. 600 million of rural consumers in China are making 70% less income than urban, but they pay up to 50% more for products of lesser quality and safety. Xingfugo Group is the first retail format dedicated to rural consumers in China. To bring down delivery costs and ensure quality, we leverage the e-commerce technologies. We're going to aggregate the last mile logistics, and we're going to leverage the powerful rural word of mouth. With our service, each household saves $215 of annual expenses, which is equal to 75 days of work every year. And they can use this money to reinvest in better education and healthcare. But we have bigger aspirations to address the broader delivery challenges in rural areas. We are a platform builder. And with a trusted delivery network, young mothers are no longer worried about the unsafe baby formula. Kids can learn English online in our Wi-Fi-enabled stores. Elders can enjoy telemedicine without traveling hours to a hospital. And farmers can sell produce at a much fairer price through online e-commerce. And honestly, a lot of the products we'll talk about today can actually be effectively scaled through the platform we're going to build, Xingfugo Group. We start by reinventing the lives in rural China, and we will scale to improve the global delivery challenges at the base of the pyramid. Thank you very much.
In the year 2012, 3 million high school graduates in India will be denied admission to college. Admission to these colleges are gated by amongst the toughest entrance exams in the world. And students who can afford private tutoring are far, far more likely to get in. A direct consequence is that each year, hundreds of thousands of smart, capable students from low-income homes are being shut out of colleges and being shut out of India's future leadership. I'm Akshay and this is Krishna, and through our work at Avanti, we're trying to create a level playing field for these children.
In just over a year, Avanti has created the single largest intervention in India to help tackle this problem. In 2012, over 500 Avanti fellows will receive the training, mentorship, and career guidance that they need to gain admission to college. By working with over 150 student volunteers in 7 cities across India, we've sowed the seeds for a nationwide movement. In over the next 5 years, we plan to help 100,000 low-income students take their first and most important step into India's future leadership.
When I was a kid, my family planted seeds each spring to supplement a poverty-level income with delicious foods. I was so proud of our traditions that my childhood dream was to become a farmer. However, in my teenage years, it was the cultural and environmental, not economic, poverty of farming that overtook my dreams. I thought hope was in abandoning the farm. But then, my first boyfriend, John, took his own life. Through that tragedy, I realized I had to find farming with meaning for kids like John and myself. Today, I share that dream with tens of thousands of sustainable farmers. The seeds we plant are a promise to restore life through good, healthy food for our neighbors, both urban and rural, and by protecting the land. But these seeds are vulnerable. Less than 10% of farmers have ever met with an attorney. This puts them at tremendous risk. We will lose these farms and all of their promise if we don't address the business strategies, contracts, and leases that leave them exposed. My name is Rachel Armstrong, and my organization, Farm Commons, makes the proactive legal counsel that sustainable farmers need accessible. We combine education, direct legal services, and attorney networking to reach families with low and middle incomes. Farm Commons grows resilient businesses so that they can change the meaning of food and farming in America.
Good evening, my name is Ray Faustino, and as an undocumented low-income student, I was living in the shadows of society. Marginalized, my family struggled to find the services that we needed to overcome our poverty-related issues. And if it weren't for a teacher who took me under his wing, I wouldn't be here tonight talking to you. And that was my first encounter with Resource Connections, but I was lucky. Because every single day, there are thousands of kids who go through poverty and poverty-related issues like homelessness and hunger. And the people who are supposed to help these kids, the counselors, the teachers, are inundated with an impossible caseload. The average counselor has over 420 students in America, an impossible caseload. 1 degree will change this. 1 degree makes it really easy to connect kids and families to resources that will help them overcome poverty. We're mobilizing trained volunteers to operate resource desks in low-income public schools, and these resource desks will make schools the focal point in the community and will help families navigate the resources that will help them save their lives. Furthermore, we're creating a web and mobile platform that's kind of like a Yelp for nonprofit and social services. It will allow millions of people to access, rate, review, and get information about their local community resources. When I tapped into my own resilience, I was able to survive and thrive. And I believe families in low-income communities can survive and thrive too, if only they were 1 degree closer to their poverty-fighting resources. Thank you.
How many of you in this room have children? Wonderful. I could bet that none of you would have ever thought about losing the child due to an unsanitary birthing condition or even during childbirth. My dad lost his mom during childbirth. My mother and my mother-in-law have lost a child each. I've seen women suffer and struggle all their lives with absolutely no freedom. Today, the resilience in me stands in front of you as an engineer and CEO of a company which has the potential to save millions of mothers and babies with a $2 product. we also have a potential to employ hundreds, if not thousands of women to give them a better chance at living. EYES is a company with a promise. We will make sure we make available life-changing, life-saving technologies that are not only affordable and vital, but simple yet beautiful, like our clean birth kit, our newborn kit, our postpartum hemorrhage kit, and so on, so no woman dies needlessly. I'm Zubaida Bai, founder of EYES.
My name is Piyush Tibari. On 5th April 2007, my 16-year-old cousin Shivam was hit by a car and severely injured. As he lay on the road bleeding, he pleaded passers-by to help him and take him to a hospital. No one came forward. In 45 minutes, still waiting for help, he bled to death. India does not have established emergency medical services, and while bystanders remain mute spectators for fear of police harassment, police, who are usually the first official agency on site, are untrained and ill-equipped to help. As a result, 18 people die every hour in road accidents in India. To stop future deaths like this, I realized we must train the police and empower bystanders to help. Together, connected through technology, they could play a game-changing role in saving lives. With this mission, I established Save Life Foundation. Initially, when I went to the police to convince them to work with me, they threw me out of their offices for seeming to challenge the status quo. But I persisted and soon had a number of senior officers agreeing to work with me. I trained hard to become a trainer in basic trauma care, studied laws around road safety and emergency care in India, and reviewed best practices from around the world. I had no background in healthcare. I came from private equity. Last year, I quit my job in private equity to dedicate 100% of my time to Save Life Foundation. Today, my goal is to ensure that across India, police responders and community volunteers are trained, networked through technology, and ready to save lives. Thank you.